Hello everyone, my name is Anzel and today we'll be playing as Lithuania. Here they are. Regular, Ironman, Historical, let's go. I've had Lithuania on my list for a while now, and being somewhat fed up with trying to make sense of Ethiopia or Switzerland, I thought this would be a nice time to do the achievement guide for this is going to be lit, and it has my name on it. This is going to be lit, requires you to occupy the capitals of all your neighbors. That means Germany, Poland, and Latvia. And this is my name on it, requires you to occupy the coast of the entire Baltic Sea. No small order for Lithuania, but Lithuania has a powerful monarchist branch that allows you to form a union with Poland and form the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. A pretty much overpowered path, but we need that power. In addition to these two achievements, this video will be heavily featuring my template guide. I often get questions what templates I use, and to be honest, I don't usually think a lot about it. I consider Bittersteel the master of templates, but what I do right is using the best template I can make in the early games. In many of my videos, most notably Italy and France, you start out with pretty crappy templates. I just slap on at most one support company and I conquer enemies that are just weaker than me. I don't go for the best template, I go for the template that's better than my enemy. And you'll see me do that today. I'll form a very basic template in the early game, and expand on that in the mid game, and get my final template in the late game. The early game will be the war against Latvia and Estonia, the mid game against the Soviet Union, and the late game against the German Reich. And hopefully not, but possibly the Allies. Now, one mistake I tend to make a lot and never show you on video is when I use that mid-game template with only a few small additions and trample an enemy that is weaker than me. The Soviet Union has huge debuffs and it doesn't really matter what template you use against them. Then I get overconfident and I use that same template against Germany. Germany is usually the end boss of the game and they then trounce me. Well, going to avoid that today. So let's start off with Lithuania. We are going to focus on infantry templates today, so it's going to be the research and electronics and industry focuses at first. Keep up with the infantry equipment, support equipment, artillery and anti-air. I'm not going to do too much with anti-tank yet, but I am going to build a small stockpile for the Germans. I'm not going to do much with air until my research is up to date with the rest, and I'm going to completely ignore the Navy for now. And of course, you need to keep up with radio, possibly one or two radar techs and the research bonuses. We will create one civilian factory and a bunch of military factories after that. This will take forever to build anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we will start with support equipment, line up the artillery, and later on we will add more wish lists here, such as civilian trains and trucks and anti-air. For our focuses, we will be rushing for the Polish path. Where is it? Here's the king for our people, and here's the kingdom of Poland. This is what we are aiming for. So we will reconvene in the Seimas, do Lithuanian preservationism, exile Vodemaras, and root out the Iron Wolf, and then get our king and get Poland. So reconvene in the Seimas. We have a pretty decent army, but it's all trash anyway. We're going to delete everything. We're going to reorganize everything into the standard infantry template, but we only have the manpower to field one division, so we're going to get all these guys on the same spot, merge them. This one can't even fill up completely, so we'll just delete it and do the one division training trick. At some point we'll stop exercising it, but it'll give us a few points of experience in exchange for a few guns. That's it for now, let's go! I'd like to create an agency, but I need more factories. Let's start our lessons on the templates. We are starting with this 118 width block of infantry, but we can pretty much field one of these divisions. Later on we'll get some manpower bonuses and we'll start to work with this division here. The smaller division of 8 width. We'll replace the cavalry with infantry, and when we are able to, we will expand it with 1 infantry. Later on, we will field a lot of these divisions to man the border against the Soviets, put on support companies, and once we can upgrade our conscription law, we will fill this up to a nice 18 or 20 width. But for now, this will do. Let's reconvene the Seimas, and we'll do Lithuanian preservationism. Lithuanian preservationism is done, and we'll exile Voldemort, Volodemaras. We'll also get partial mobilization on the cheap, and get the captain of industry. Construction 1 is done, and that's a good time to research the truck. 100 political power, and I'll add a defense expert, the army defense guy. We can pretty much stop exercising this one division now. Changing the look of the template so I can keep it apart from the main template. Also, it doesn't need to be reserve, just like this. And I'll train a few more. Like 2 more. Exile Volodemaras is done. We'll need to root out the Iron Wolf, but I'll get our king first. The Iron Wolf Partisans is a continuously ticking event. Here we are, long live the king. And we'll do root out the Iron Wolf now. We don't have our king yet. Well, he's over here being supportive. Later on we'll put him in power. Let's root out the Iron Wolf and we'll establish a new noble class. With another 150 political power, what I'd like to do is we have 77% stability, which isn't good enough for me. I want at least 80%, and we can do anti-fascist raids, anti-democratic raids, and anti-communist raids, all at the same time. It tanks our stability for now, but it will get up higher than it used to be. Don't forget, when over 35 army experience, get the professional officer corps for more experience. A new noble class is done, and we'll establish the Royal Guards. With the raids done, you have 5 factories at work here, which is enough to create an intelligence agency, so get that going right away. Another thing I'll be showing you today, absolutely vital for this strategy, is a collaboration government on the Soviet Union. That was never an easy thing, but it has become more difficult by blood alone, so I'd like to show you in detail how I do that. Establish Royal Guards is done and will abolish the presidency. We also got these few nifty units. These are the classic 7.2 templates, and they are veterans, so this is very useful. And we'll create a few more of these trash templates. We'll start with diplomatic training. As soon as we have the factories, so probably after we annex Poland, we'll do localized training centers to get a Soviet spy. Abolish the presidency is done. And we'll do support monarchism in Poland. We're saving up our political power right now for shenanigans in Poland. And after a lot of clicking, we can see that we have our cool hat leader, Mindaugas III. I'd also like to get us some engineers before I forget about them. We've got a fair amount of army experience. Now you could get a military theorist and start researching doctrines. I advise you to wait until you have a royal reform that gets rid of your more expensive doctrines. Meanwhile, support monarchism in Poland is done. and we will do the nation and its power. We'll also go to the decisions tab here, our claim to Poland, and we'll continuously click propagandize monarchist sentiment until the other options become available, which should be at our claim strength of 30. Don't forget to research anti-air. Fairly early, you need to put up a production line as soon as you have Poland. And don't forget to click. We can now do several decisions at the same time. Do propagandize monarchist sentiment. This one's a bit overpriced and we don't really need it. But sway Polish generals is a really good one to do. Free Polish generals. I mean, Polish generals are the best generals. No, they're not, but they're pretty good. The nation and its power is done, and we will sweep on over here to rejoin the railways to give us a little more time to click some decisions. Now we need this to be over 80, so once these decisions run through, just click them again. Don't misclick on the 100 political power, that would be a shame. But do sway the Polish generals, and we can invest in Poland some more. Rejoin the railways is done. I'll just hold off on taking a focus until we have 80 influence here. I will raise it a little higher because, well, maybe we'll get an entirely peaceful transition. Here we are, 80 influence, and where is it? We can go for the Kingdom of Poland. And since that will take 35 days, 25 days now, we will also sway some more Polish generals. Here's the Kingdom of Poland, and we will go for another industry focus here. Modernize our industry for a ton of factories. 70 days, it's a bit long. This war never takes very long. I actually could have waited for this, but we'll get Poland in the mix later. Set the army up on the Latvian border now. Toad anti-air is done. Make sure you add it to the growing wish list. Modernize the industry is done, and we'll go back to the political path here and restore the Commonwealth, thereby integrating the Kingdom of Poland. And here we are, restore the Commonwealth is done, and we'll do claim Livonia, which means we will get war goals on Estonia and Latvia. We get a lot of new divisions. Double click on those 10 cavalry, add them to your army and set exercise. We'll ignore the rest for now. We suddenly have a lot more factories, and we'll expand the truck queue, support equipment queue, artillery and anti-air like follows. We also got some dockyards, just put them on convoys, and we can also add some more factories to the mix. Well, we have some time left, so I'd like to add just a few more civilian factories and then start building military ones. Oh, by the way, whatever you do, don't build in Memel, that one. We got even more factories now. Guns are not that urgent. I mean, we got 16k, but we should get a few factories on guns. And possibly a little bit more on artillery, support equipment. All these things are important. And get some Swedish steel while you're at it. And we should be able to get a localized training center now, and also get the elusive gentleman. Localized training center is done. Get the unfortunately named pills as well, and then just do whatever. We need to get a third spy out, and we need as many Soviets as we can get, but at least one. We can also do the decision to move the capital to Vilnius. That gives us some buffs, so just do that. Oh well, Not my problem right now. Claim Livonia is done. Claim Greater Lithuania will be done at some point later. Conquer the war goal against the Soviets is a bit optimistic right now. We'll do Royal Reform now. And after that we'll go for our next research slot. We do have war goals now against Estonia and Lithuania. We'll just declare war on both of them to prevent any guarantees, which are quite unlikely at this phase anyway. Now the Latvians are woefully unprepared, so just move on in there and seize territory. Royal Reform is done, and we will sweep over to the left and go for Unchain our Education next. Kind of baffled why this battle is taking so long. And here we finally are. Select all, submit demands, confirm and exit. Now set all these guys on the north and into Estonia. We can also get ourselves a military fairist and get us some doctrines. I do like to go for grand battle plan in this scenario, so just get a few of those out there. We also got our third spy here. We now have 3 of them. At some point you might want to replace one with a Soviet spy, but let's first see how far we can get with this one. We have 1 Soviet spy, and I'd like to put her here on Rostov and just see how long she lasts. Ideally she lasts until 50%, and then I select her another mission for her, but well, the odds are against her. And that's Estonia. Select all, submit demands, and exit. Well, that was a bit more costly than I hoped, but we'll put there. We have captured a lot of Baltic weapons, and we can now get to work on our army. And also our main guy got infantry expert, so he's got that going for him. Also do bold attack. Now this seems contradictory. I'm going for a defensive position at first, but I will need to counterattack at some point. The defense values of our generals will be good enough at first. What we'll be aiming for is 5 completely filled out armies with 24 of these reserve divisions. We'll keep those royal guards, and that just means we have to convert all those cavalry to our trashy templates, and all of these guys will also be converted. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the spy. 15%. We need her on 50%, and then we'll put her on quiet intel network. Now the idea is that if she gets captured, we rescue her immediately. That's the only thing we use the other spies for until she reaches 50%. It's extremely unlikely she'll make that in one run, but well, we can always hope. Alright, here's how I like to set things up. The first army, I'll put him all the way to the right to know he's at the bottom. He has those Royal Guard divisions that are still nice and handy. Put them on these tiles on the Romanian border with a battle order this way. Next up, we have random Polish General number 1. Guerrilla fighter entrenchment speed. Where did he get that? Interesting. Yeah, he'll do. And he'll just take this part here. Next general will go over here and basically guard up until this point here. Make sure we get this province here. Otherwise we leave a hole. And we want to be efficient. And then we have this guy here. He will guard the entire north. That seems like a long way, but these are impassable tiles, so he has a relatively easy job. This one's very important. put him on garrison and select all these coastal tiles here and make him defend the ports. If you don't do that, the Soviets are going to have a nasty surprise. Just select naval bases and unselect Memel. You don't really need Memel. And put all of these guys on exercise. I'll also train about 4 motorized divisions. I'll expand on them later. Now we can get to work on our templates. We have 287,000 manpower in reserve. Alright, one slight break. We have agent captured, which means we have to go and rescue her. This guy will go on quiet intel network on the Rostov area. 55%, which is what we were aiming for, so I wasn't paying attention. And quiet intel network, very important, so he has almost no risk of getting captured. And we'll put the other one, Kristina, here on rescuing the Soviet agent. Only when we have 3 agents again, then we can go for a collaboration government. Alright, we said something about going to work on our template. Now let's first get rid of these cavalry divisions and add 1 infantry battalion. We'll have a look. We need 160,000 manpower and we have 287,000 available, so click save. Can we add another one? Well, let's hold off on that until these troops have mobilized, otherwise we cannot get a clear picture. Germany demands Memel. We must accept. Really, there's no choice in this guide. Rebuild the Vilnius forts is done and we'll unchain our education. Manpower is at 100%. Let's have another look at that template design. Can we add another infantry? Yes, we can. And we'll make it at 12 width to work with. And then we'll add support companies. That should really be all we can afford for now. Germany is going after the Benelux. Italy joins Germany and the war is on. It's not our problem. At some point the Soviets will come for us. Here's the rescued agent. We'll put the Soviet agent back on the quiet intel network. We'll put our own agents back at home and we'll prepare a collaboration government with the other 2 agents and set it on repeat when ready and just go. The gear will be available or it won't be, but these things have priority. Might as well put operations on priority. The 6 width, the 12 width motorized is a bit weak. We will expand it like so. This is your poor man's tank divisions. I'm not even adding artillery yet, and I will show you I won't even need it. 50 experience, a heavy price to pay, but we'll pay it. Radio detection is done and we'll go for the industry branch. Still got a lot to do here, and we'll build a few, just a few radar stations to help us with intercept. Set this entire army to motorization priority, just the first level, so you can keep an eye on how many trucks you need, and they should be fine. Once these guys have fully exercised, we can add support companies to these divisions. We'll start with support anti-air, support artillery, and engineers, and we will see that none of it is enough in our stockpiles. Meanwhile, Enchainer education is done, and we'll do renew Allied trade and British aircraft manufacturing to get some free airplanes. We'll put the research slots on the industry for now. 97% manpower is probably the average, so we're alright. Let's have another look. Anti-air, 500 days, that's not good. Artillery is fine. Trucks is okay-ish. Support equipment is also not so good. So we can afford to get some off here, a lot off here. Get some anti-air going. Czechoslovakia joins the Allies, well, good luck with that. And some more support equipment. Yeah, we're building factories, so this should be it. Soviet Union is influencing our politics. Well, how dare they? Well, we are doing collaboration governments. We'll just ban communism and later we'll have to do anti-communist raids. British aircraft manufacturing is done, and we'll do the Forest Brothers for defense and attack on core territory. Here come the Soviets, justify war goal. It'll be a few days, but usually the game isn't accurate and they'll declare war before then, so be sure to be ready. The line here should be able to hold. You can see we have several divisions per tile here. Some divisions, some more than others. I don't exactly understand why he would put 2 divisions here and 6 here. Whatever. Forest Brothers is done, and we will have a look here. Yeah, this one looks interesting. You get some extra field marshal, a general, and access to more recruitable population, stability, and land doctrine cost reduction. We want this. Justification of conquering Vilnius for the Soviet Union is complete. I'll just assume they'll declare war immediately, and they do. Now that they have declared war, we can see bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. We can go to war economy, we can go to extensive conscription, we can get an infantry expert, we can get an artillery expert, and we'll also do the anti-communist raids just because we can, and well, that seems to be enough for right now. Let's have a look at what our guys are doing. Just going to slow things down a bit. League of Nations only now disbanding, even though half of Europe is already conquered. And we see all the bubbles turning green, but that's deceptive. The Soviets are famous for just pushing and pushing until you de-org. You can afford to lose a few tiles, but do keep in mind you can't afford to lose too many. These motorized are your reserves, and you don't want to evacuate your shoreline, as you can plainly see. Now, as long as you hold the ports, you should be fine. So let's bring in the reserves. It'll be a while before your manpower starts trickling in from extensive conscription. Don't go up to service by requirement, you don't need that. This will be well underway soon enough. Patriotic Soviet mutual. But for now, I'll just go for the defense of our nation, because that will get us cheaper guns. Here's you can see a few tiles are struggling. Try to reinforce, but don't sweat it if you can't hold. You can afford to lose a few tiles. It's all core territory for you, so it'll be alright. You can go for ambusher if you think you need it, but really infantry expert is the way to go, because you will be needing counter offensives later on. And just wipe out these invaders. Just let the Soviets pounce on your lines for a good while. They'll attack aggressively, and you can see that they'll leave themselves in a weakened state. My test run, I did lose Rezeknia here, but it seems like I'm holding this time. Optimize my equipment, I guess. Now, what are interesting places to fight? This is actually a good lesson in micro. What do we do here? We're not going to use these buttons, at least not yet. We need to kill a lot of Soviet divisions first. How do we do that? We find places on the map where we can encircle tiles with divisions. Not entire areas, although if you get the chance, certainly do it. But you can see one division guarding here, so we just attack this tile with everything we have. Ideally, we should also attack this tile, but that would be difficult. There's a lot of troops here and they're attacking me. So maybe I'll just wait for a bit. Then there's this button here, the supply map mode, and you can see where the enemy supply hubs are. This one is a very tempting target, but it's relatively well protected. And Minsk is always a good target because you can attack the sides of Minsk with relative good force. And Pskov is a vital target that you need to take to pretty much eliminate all the supply here. And this is a supply place you need to hold yourself. So let's see how this will pan out. We are attacking here. Let's attack above Minsk, and then once you have all these guys attacking, you press S to split whatever forces you have selected here, and then shift right click to attack the next tile. That way only half your forces will penetrate deep into enemy territory and the other half will stick around here to defend. You do need to defend every once in a while. Now the Soviets are suffering from low orc, so this might work. You can actually see I'm pushing their tank back. I did not expect that. That must be the partial piercing mechanic we're seeing at work here. And now you can kill these units here. Meanwhile, keep researching. 1940, that means computing machines. And that's a good amount of units gone. Now let's stick around here for a moment. Do note that the Soviets left this tile empty, so move in some troops. Move your motorized here and keep those units pinned there, because this is a very nice pocket to grab. Can't believe I'm getting this lucky in my chances here. That's 7, 8, 9, 10 divisions. Well, some of them are already gone. Incredible. Now I was pointing towards the supply hub at Sitomir. And when you're doing all this, just continue to glance up and down the map to see how you're doing. Minsk did not get captured here. Probably need some more troops. And you have a very meager air force, but you can choose to help out wherever they are. Spots that are really tight battles. Field Marshal already got Logistics Wizard. Get that, it's vital. Minsk situation is looking alright. When all else fails, we can just push into Minsk to get a supply hub, but I'd like to surround it to get the encirclement. Bit of resistance here. I'd like to get this Pskov. Here we can go, yeah. And once these units would retreat, we would pin them with these guys. But we have them encircled, so usually the killing order should have to be given manually, but that's alright. Right, now that these first offensives are done for, we even got the Pskov supply hub. Do we have supply there? Well, not yet, but we'll get it. It's time to look at our templates again. We have 200,000 manpower, and the template is really still only at 12 width, so we'll add a single infantry and just wait until that fills in. Meanwhile, look for opportunities like this one. This entire flank has been guttered, opened up, and once we start taking pieces here, the other Soviet forces will likely move around. And we'll use the motorized to get it done. Let's see if we can just smash into Kiev here, while we also manually move into all these provinces. And get at least the surround on Odessa. Well, a free Kiev, that I did not see coming. Once you've pushed into opportunities like this, don't be surprised if your front line just looks very edgy, and at some point it becomes a priority to cut off these bulges. You still have less troops than the Soviets do, So you kind of need to be careful with where you place them. This attack here isn't working, so just end it before they counterattack. And we still have more than enough manpower, so we can expand our template a little more. They're not fully experienced, but they'll get there. We can also add cavalry recon. That'll help them on the terrain here, and we have the support equipment to spare. If you're grinding for adaptable, it's always nice to switch the ranger, who will invariably form up here in the north, or even here. It's this guy here who got ranger, and the guy who gets the center here usually gets swamp rat, swamp fox. He almost got it, not just yet. He just needs to attack a little more, or defend a little more. I don't really mind. You can switch those around, maybe to grind adaptable. It's not very likely. But this is the time to rearrange my lines. Now, I've been asked, why don't you use field marshal orders? I really don't like that. It's a surefire way for me to get stuff, and this is just how I learned things. Well, we're seeing counterattacks on a lot of places, but we did kill 1 million Soviets versus almost 100,000 on our part. Must be doing something right. And another encirclement, 3 divisions, and our motorized has arrived here. We'll try some small cutoffs here, nothing too fancy. This is motorized after all, not armor. We'll aim for this one here, so we'll attack this infantry so we can meet along the way. Heading into the swampy areas isn't the best idea usually, and we should be able to punch through here. And here we are. Wow, I actually got the drop on Leningrad here. Not sure if I can actually take it. Bessarabia, that is something of a priority now. Let's just wheel back the motorized. Ah, we got Leningrad. Nice, nice, nice. And an encirclement even. Soviet troops in this area are really weak. Got improv experts. How are we doing on ranger? Yeah, that's not going to work, probably. Ooh, we already got a unit here. Let's take it out. This is really about it for killing the Soviet Union. They've already lost 1.6 million troops, 1.7 almost. And we just need to advance about almost to Moscow, I think, and Stalingrad, and then we'll have to capitulate it already. We should have all, if not most, of the war score. At some point the Germans might join in, but they'll just get some token participation. Well, it's about time we move to the 18 width. I just saved that, and the manpower will stream in. We have 1 million manpower in reserve. With this beautiful front line here, what I'd like to do next is just encircle behind all these enemy lines and just encircle more troops. It's still too much to just start pushing in. That will cost huge casualties, and I really don't like that. So let's start over here at Dnipropetrovsk and cut down here, and then we'll move up. So let's get the motorized in here. Ooh, I probably need that as a supply hub too, so it's a good idea to do this. Of course, December is probably not the best time to start attacking. Beautiful. Do note, I'm also researching anti-tank, and I'm going to produce some of it. This is for the Germans later on, though. Here come the Germans. Well, they don't have any lines with the Soviets at this point, but they might get some war score through convoy raiding or whatever. We are getting invited to the Axis. I really don't see the point in that, unless you want to go after the Allies first, but no. I do believe Germany is our next natural enemy. Speaking of which, we'll also justify a war goal on Finland and see if we can get that one done before we capitulate this Soviets, so they can at least join the Comintern and that peace deal. Ideally, you want to do that long before I just did, possibly when France capitulates. That should generate enough world tension. And the pockets I create are getting bigger and bigger. It's a sure sign that Soviets are on their last legs. I did think I heard a naval invasion sound, and yes, they did. They did naval invade right behind my back, so not safe yet. Once again, this is the template that's doing most of the pushing. Infantry and the regular supports. There's a few lost guys with 7-2 here, but they're not really making all the impact, of course. Soviets 61%, and we'll probably get them once we grab Moscow and or Stalingrad. Cool. Here's the war goal against Finland. Let's go! And just attack, get some war score, and finish off the Soviets as well. Here we already got a tile. This should be enough. Let's truck into Moscow. Is that enough? Nearly there. There's Stalingrad, so this must be the peace deal. Big oof. Well, we got points, and some others got some points as well, so we'll have to look out for contested areas. And I should also like to puppet the Soviet Union for their fleet. However, I would prefer a collaboration government. Choices, choices. Collaboration governments are so much stronger. Finland isn't in a peace deal, so I'll probably just have to keep on fighting them. More contested areas, select all, demand, and just take the rest. You can see a few that I missed, and the Romanians are contesting them. I don't care. Select all, demand, submit. Select all, demand, submit. Now I can't imagine this is what Paradox meant with getting more engagement in peace deals. But here we are. Soviet Union, Mongolia, Tanatuva annexed, 44,000 equipment seized, and we need to finish off Finland ASAP. So let's get on that. And here is the provisional government of the Soviet Union. They have our blessing. Now the factory count of a 100% compliant Soviet Union is also nothing to scoff at, but now we can at least drain 1 million of their manpower. And here's Finland. The good news is we can just select all, submit demands, confirm and exit, and it's ours. Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth for the win. Now we are Polish-Lithuanian Russia. No, that's our puppets. We are still quite high and mighty. We gave up a lot of cores that we have here for this Soviet puppet. I'm going to drain some manpower from them and then just annex them. Now let's introduce you to one of my most commonly made mistakes that I never record actually, or I record it and then I toss it away. I've beaten the Soviets and I have a massive army and I'm training 120 Russian divisions, so I guess I'm pretty strong. The big mistake would be to line up my troops that I have on the border with the Axis and just declare war, counting on the Allies to do their part. It's a bit early for that. In addition, this template, which has served me well against the Russians, will almost certainly fall short against the Axis. As a defensive template, this is all right. I will add anti-tank support companies. They're somewhat better now against the Germans, and probably 1 or 2 more infantry units. I don't exactly have the manpower for that, so maybe I'll have to mobilize that, but at least my Russian divisions will be coming in. What will the Russian divisions look like? They have this extra artillery and a 20 width piece of infantry, so 23 width. They don't have reconnaissance yet, and they don't have anti-tank. That's going to be an issue. I'll just help them deploy as well. There's lots of borders to take care of. So let's get to it. In addition, I have this one template here. Where is it? These guys, the Royal Guards divisions. This is actually a decent attacking template for the early game. They have some attack, they have some defense. I'm going to expand on this, build lots of artillery and make them my attacking infantry. I don't really have tanks to do the attacking, and I'll put them on the Königsberg pocket first. What my general strategy will be is to line the front with a lot of divisions that can hold that line and put my best troops on the Königsberg pocket and eliminate it. Then I'll put them over here and eliminate this triangle, and then we'll see where it goes and where we'll have to reinforce. Port wise, it's probably wise to defend as well, and that's going to be the general strategy. Now we are aiming for the Lithuanian Achievements, which means we have to hold the capitals of our original neighbors, and we hold this one and we hold this one. We just need Berlin, so that's one of our aims, to get Berlin. The other Lithuanian achievement is to get all of the Baltic Sea coastline. That's going to be something of a challenge. What I'm going to try is, while I'm at war with the Axis, is to justify on Sweden and get them into the Axis. If they get guaranteed by the Allies, that's too bad. We'll see about that. I've had one test run where they actually joined the Axis, and then it's free Sweden, and we just need these 2 parts after that. In the Far East, there's a potential problem, namely Japan. They do not have a non-aggression treaty with me. I might try to get it, but it'll only last a year. My best bet is to just keep China alive and send them some Lend-Lease. Alright, I've set things up as follows. I'm still training a division to hold the other side of the Königsberg pocket. My original troops have been placed along the German line, and some Russian troops here on the Romanian line. I've also placed troops here with Japan. First of all, I don't trust them, and second of all, I just want to declare war on them so I can join the Chinese United Front. I need to do in a faction in order to do a focus for my 5th research slot. This one here, technology sharing, is in faction. Let's have a look. Can I create a faction? I don't think so. Alright, I'm justifying a war goal on Hungary because they are not guaranteed by Japan. And I might not join the Chinese United Front after all. I'll try the Allies. If they'll have me, I did cause some world tension. Alright, here's the justification for Hungary. Let's declare war. We're ready for it. I hope. Otherwise, this will be a botched recording. Now here we have what we call Strike 1. And we'll let them attack, including those motorized here. They have called in Italy. And the German Reich has also joined. Let's turn the speed a bit down. And almost certainly will feel the effects of not having an air force, but anti-air has improved significantly, so maybe, just maybe, we'll be alright. I can tell you who's not going to be alright. It's going to be the guys in Königsberg. They have been cut off completely. Our first victory. We are not seeing any bubbles in any of the other borders, so we're good. And the allies are inviting us to their faction. They'll kick us without a doubt, so we'll make use of it immediately. Yeah, we should have waited. Alright, we'll do that next time. But we will be able to... Where is it? Technology sharing. Hopefully they will not kick us within 70 days. We're seeing red bubbles here. There's a lot of Germans here, so we'll need to reinforce this line. ASAP. Time for an update. A year has passed or something, in which I didn't really record. It's been very slow going, almost therapeutic actually. I've been cleaning up China a little because the Allies kicked me out and then I just took over the Chinese United Front. Japan is suffering at my hands, kicked them out of Korea. Looking pretty stable here. I was actually about to give up, but then I noticed that the Axis aren't really doing too well in terms of equipment. Their troops are really running low, so once I've taken care of Japan I can start focusing here. There are lots of divisions here, but with small encirclements I might be able to whittle away at them. Now why are these divisions so weak? Because they have lost 3.7 million to me. Italians are not doing too well either. Well, they're still banging their heads against me. But to say that I'm seeing an opening here, that would be a lie. In fact, the Germans are actually pushing me. Well, this is surprising, to say the least. I didn't pay attention for a moment, and with 1% naval supremacy I managed to cross into Japan. Now hopefully I do get a port here anytime soon, because I do need one. And here is our port. Let's ship over these guys. Well, that's the end of Japan. I didn't get the most war score. That was China, of course, but we'll see what we can do. Well, I got a sizable Polish-Lithuanian Japan. Never got enough points to get that many ships, but I did get the Kaga and its support fleet, so that's a sizable increase of my former fleet. And this Polish-Lithuanian Japan does seem to have most of the Japanese former fleet, so annexing them would give me a fleet. That's what I really need. China got really big and chunky on this one, but I'm not really in a conflict with China. Well, that took long enough. Finally got Stettin. Now let's break out of here. Well, I got Berlin. Don't ask me how. Time to clean up this front line a little. Well, it's looking spectacular, but it's slow going. This is an afternoon well spent, I guess. Replaced my motorized with mechanized. Probably build a few more. Liberating the Netherlands. This is where I live, actually. Well, it's going to work if they're not moving out. Holy shit. It actually worked. The biggest encirclement ever, maybe. Yep, that one counted. Wow. And Germany has become more and more empty. Well, this looks nice. Split up Germany. Heading towards Vienna, that should capitulate the Germans. And there are still a few others left. Romania, Hungary, Italy. Well, Italy's not looking too hot. And that's the Germans. Well, I got a big piece of Baltic Sea here. There goes Mussolini. Well, this is a welcome surprise. The Regno del Sud is a puppet of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Wow, did not expect that. Greater Hungary is now a major. We're almost here, and there's no one left to become a major. Not even Albania. And here's the peace deal. I have by far the most points, but this will be a puzzle anyway. Now, I want everything, of course, but what do I really need? It is the Baltic coastline. I'll try to make a gigantic German puppet, because I could use more manpower. Well, this looks like something of a mess. But I got an Italian puppet, and the German puppet seems complete. For some reason this Oberschlesien got lost somewhere, which probably locks me out of that greater Commonwealth. Oh yeah, I need some German stuff for that, but I'll just start building like a madman in there. Well, this looks pretty clean. This is actually a very good Poland-Lithuania campaign. I will need to do a few things to finish up, and for the Baltic Sea achievement we still need to fight the Allies. That's easier said than done. They'll have millions of people streaming in, so it's something we'll need to keep on this side of the Atlantic. We'll need to keep our fleets out here and just invade from everywhere. Luckily I do have fleets. Picked up quite a bit of a fleet throughout the years. We'll merge them up all later. Finally, I can do the Greater Commonwealth. One of the biggest formidable nations out there, and certainly considering I start out as tiny Lithuania. Meanwhile, I'm, well, exercising a lot of armies. Probably going to war soon. I'm justifying on Sweden, and everyone's guaranteeing it. The Dutch are mine. Chinese United Front. Schermerhorn. Alright. Here we are fighting the Allies. The naval invasion of Sweden is going according to plan. A lot of stuff is happening. I'm not even going to attack everyone. I just need the coastline. Denmark has already capitulated. Let's finish them off and get into Sweden. Let's not forget this important part of Sweden. It counts for the achievement, I think. I got the island. Sweden has capitulated, and after some mopping up, that would get me the achievement, if I didn't already have it. Well, here we are, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Let's get this one. Yep, here we are. The entire East Sea, Baltic Sea. Oh, one more tile. We're almost there. And here we are. From north to south, the entire Baltic Sea has been enveloped by Lithuania. I have the achievement. Well, I had it already, so there we go. This, of course, is a war that will take me into 1950 with the United States in there. I have a fleet, but no doctrines and no experienced admirals, so these guys will pretty much be owned. I'm surprised how well he's leveling, though. Enough to do, I guess. But I'm certainly not going to continue this game. It's been one hell of a ride already with Lithuania into the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, conquering pretty much everything and making this my core territory, the Greater Commonwealth. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.